iOS 14 is finally here. After a long beta season and a very brief GM, the final build is actually here. In this video, let's go ahead and cover the biggest and best changes in iOS 14, and quite a bit has changed since the beta season began. I wanted to cover everything in this video, letting you know what to expect after updating to iOS 14. And yes, there are way more features than I'm showing you in this video. If I were to list those, this video would be several hours long, but these are the biggest changes coming to your iPhone or iPad with iOS 14. All right, let's start with the biggest visual changes, widgets. You can now populate your home screen with varying sizes of widgets from many different applications. There are Smart Stack widgets, which you can scroll to display different types of information, and it's highly customizable, although they're not very interactable. It would be nice for Apple to update that later on. Also, app library. So now all of your apps show up in this easy to access list, everything in one place. You can actually hide certain apps or pages even from the main home screen, leaving things less cluttered. Great organization tool. And now in the control center, you'll find home favorites. Now you can jump in and see all of your home accessories, but in the control center page, you'll have just a small collection of your most used accessories. This can be disabled though if you don't like those there. And with iOS 14, of course, with any iOS release, we have new wallpapers, but interestingly enough, Apple updated a bunch of the older stripe wallpapers. So these are now dynamic and the background will shift to black. Also, a long-awaited one, unobtrusive call interface. So something we've been begging Apple for the longest time. You can be scrolling, you can be doing your thing. If you receive a call, it will not show up as a full screen interface here, just a small bar. Same thing goes for Siri. Apple has completely redesigned that, and the search results will now show up on the top with a small orb on the bottom. In landscape, Siri has a new view as well. She shows up evenly in the center. And on iPad, this is a benefit that the iPhone doesn't have. You can interact with applications in the background with Siri enabled. And for smaller iPhones, namely the 5.8-inch iPhone 10 and up models, there's now a new display zoom mode, zoomed, the same thing that you'd find on the larger iPhones, except now there's no limitation for smaller screens. Presumably, this is to prepare iOS 14 for the launch of the 5.4-inch iPhone, as it'll be a very similar screen size. And this feature here, picture-in-picture, is what I've been waiting for the longest time. One of the biggest reasons to jailbreak your phone. It's now available in iOS 14 on all iPhones. So not just limited to iPads, this is it. Finally, the real deal. Also available for FaceTime. I'm just waiting for Apple to add split screen multitasking, and then I'll need nothing else. And iOS 14 now allows you to change your default web browser app as well as your mail client. So any links will now open up directly in the browser of your choosing. Finally, Apple is really giving you everything you've wanted. Also, there's a new time picker, so wherever time or numbers are concerned, you can actually drag the dial or manually input. And a feature I found very cool but quite unreliable is back tap. It's an accessibility feature where you can program a double tap or triple tap on the rear of your phone to do a host of different things. There's a huge list here. Quick tip, whenever you're deep in Apple's menu system, just hold the back button and you'll get a list so you can quickly shortcut to the first page. A number of changes to the Messages application to make your experience far better. For one, you can now pin multiple contacts at the top page for easier access. There are now inline replies, so you can answer a question directly beneath the original text bubble, and tagging users within groups, amongst other features. And another fantastic one that we've been begging Apple for quite some time, emoji search. It works very well. The algorithm is very fine-tuned. You'll find any emoji you need as long as it's relevant to the word you type in. A huge time saver. And the fact that you can scroll in the results showing even more, great interface. And of course, a bunch of new memojis, namely the 2 new mask styles, which suit the times quite well. Overall, 20 new emoji styles and variations. Now, I still couldn't get a live demo of this one, but app clips are coming. They're a bite-sized version of any application that you need in order to perform an action, say rent a bike, but without having to download the full app. Within the camera app, we have a number of improvements. Older iPhone users will be happy to learn that Apple has added the fine-tuning for resolution and frames per second to the camera controls for video and slow motion. Also, for iPhone 11 and 11 Pro, night mode can now be stopped before completing. Also, there's a new exposure toggle, so you can manually set the exposure as you desire and leave it there. And also within the camera settings, there's a new option to mirror the front camera. I know a lot of Android users have the opposite of this on their smartphones. So going to an iPhone, it can kind of leave you a little disoriented. This gives you the possibility to choose. Not only did weather get new widgets, but within the weather app, Apple has done some restructuring here. The layout is slightly different. And as you can see, air quality index is now on the very top. This